I knew something was off. It was getting really bad. Like I would wake up after 12 hours of sleep and I just wasn't there. My lifts kept going down. I would get fatigued easier. Caffeine wasn't doing it for me. I jumped back on creatine. That helped for a short time, but then I fell back again. I knew something wasn't right. I was like, what else have I not looked at? I've looked at the heavy metals. I've done the liver panels. I've done the celery juice. I've done the detoxes. I've done a 3-day fast. I've done all this stuff and nothing's working. So as soon as I finished that documentary, I looked up. All right, strap yourselves in, gentlemen. It is story time. Just about 7 years ago or so, I was about 14 years old and I got a cavity, like any child. Lots of kids, they kind of slack off on brushing their teeth, and I know I definitely skipped a few sessions of scrubbing my pearly whites before bed. And, I ate a lot of sugar and stuff when I was in my early adolescence years. And, you get cavities here and there. You get a cavity, your tooth starts to hurt, you go to a dentist, and they end up, filling the tooth with whatever they fill it. And one time, I got a cavity. I was about 13, 14 years old. I'm not sure the exact age that I was, but I know I was in early middle school. My tooth started to hurt really bad. I went to my mom, I went to my dad, I told them my tooth was hurting, and just like I usually would, they took me an appointment to the dentist. They took a look at it, they took an x-ray, and they recommended to my parents what they thought they should do and pay for. But this time was a little bit different. This time, the cavity that they found was a little bit extreme. And, it hurt really bad. I went about a month without getting this tooth fixed, and it was causing me more and more pain by the day. When the dentist saw that this tooth was severely infected and there was a big cavity, he said that because of the size of the cavity, he didn't think he would be able to fill it properly and get rid of the infection. So, like a good dentist does, he said, I think you guys should invest in a root canal. So he told my parents how it would go down, told them the price tag. He recommended a good endodontist, which is a dentist that specializes in root canals, among other things. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but anyway, he recommended us go to an endodontist. So we scheduled an appointment with them 2-3 weeks later, and he did a root canal, and it was kind of unnerving. It was kind of pretty painful, even though he did his best to numb me up. I've always had kind of sensitive teeth, so it was actually a little bit painful. Yeah, I got the root canal in a week. I was feeling better, didn't hurt at all, and my cavity went away, and it was all hunky-dory. And I never thought about it again. And that was right around the time that I was getting into my fitness journey. I started with CrossFit. I then moved into more of a traditional bodybuilding split, tried a couple different programs here and there. I kind of developed my own approach all the way up until now. During this time, I learned how to be very intuitive with my body. I've always been good at navigating the health and fitness world. If I try something new and it doesn't seem quite right, I'll push it for a few days. And then if it still doesn't feel quite right, I will, just leave it by the wayside and try something else or go back to what I was doing before until I find something better. All that to say, I've always taken my health very, very seriously. It's been probably the most important thing for me because, we are spirits, we are energy living in this physical body. And, if your vehicle for experiencing reality is busted, it changes your whole experience. So the fundamental base of our existence, at least here in the third dimension, is our physical health. And so after I got that root canal, that was just about the time around 13, 14 years old where I actually started to consistently work out and consistently go to the gym. And I started to see much progress, see much success. I was very overweight in middle school. I actually had pretty big man boobs in middle school. Yeah, I was definitely a chunky monkey when I was in middle school and high school. As I started to see results and as I started to see progress in the gym, I dropped a lot of weight. I started to feel better. I started to feel more energized. I started putting on muscle. All these great things that come as a result of diving into the health and wellness world, of diving into self-improvement and working out and watching what you eat. I started to see all the benefits of that. And 2, 3, 4 years in, my progress has been better than it had ever been. Year 5 came around, I was 18 years old. I was on cloud 9. I was working out 3, 4, 5 days a week, 6 days a week if I could. I didn't even watch what I ate too much as long as I hit my protein, got some good fruits and veggies in there and kind of just backloaded calories, desserts, desserts, whatever, on the back end until I was satiated. Like, I looked and felt as good as I had ever looked and felt. You know, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't, you know, like IFBB pro level bodybuilder type of physique, but, you know, compared to where I came from of being that chubby, you know, probably the fattest kid in my middle school, that was success in my eyes, and that was good enough for me. But around year 6, I was, you know, coming to the end of age 19, and I started to notice something was off. Little things. It was really, really subtle. It wasn't just like one day I woke up and I got sick. It was like I started to slowly be chiseled away of my health and my vitality. This illness that was starting to come into my body was very, very different. Like, one day to the next wasn't too different, but looking back month by month, I was like, what is wrong? Why can't I gain strength like I used to? Why do I feel a little more tired than I did a year ago, even though I'm doing not even just the same things, I was doing the same things, but even better. I was cleaning up my diet a little bit more. I added some new supplements that were definitely helping, and I definitely noticed a difference, but just the presence and health and vitality I felt in my body, it was just every month it was like 1% down, 1% down, 1% down. Now, how does this all tie to the root canal that I gotten when I was 13, 14 years old? Well, I will explain that in a moment. But around when I turned 20, it started to get really bad. I started to I'd started my coaching business. I'd gotten a few clients. I was really taking it seriously. And, you know, I'm the face of my brand. So obviously, you know, I have to have the best results. I have to be like, listen, if you want to lose fat, gain muscle, have more energy, I have to build muscle, lose fat, have more energy myself. Like, I can't try to sell those results to somebody else if I don't have those results myself. So I wasn't feeling like I, you know, was at full health and full capacity of my vitality, and I knew something was off. It was getting really bad. Like, I would wake up after 12 hours of sleep and I just wasn't there. I'm like, I slept as much as I could. I'm like, you know what? I just need a rest day from the gym. I would take 2 rest days and I'd feel great then. And I would go back to the gym, but still something was a little off. My lifts kept going down. I would get fatigued easier. Caffeine wasn't doing it for me. I jumped back on creatine. That helped for a short time, but then I fell back again. And I knew something wasn't right. So all of a sudden, I decided to go really deep on this health thing. I was like, listen, this is not normal. I'm 20 years old. I should not be dealing with this chronic fatigue, this chronic brain fog. Like, this is unacceptable, especially for me, who's always, you know, who's been into the health world since I was 13, 14 years old. I'm the last person who should be dealing with this. So I started to really dive into the world of detoxing and holistic wellness, of, you know, somatic trauma release, energy healing, detoxification, vegan, plant-based, parasite cleansing, kidney stone cleansing, cleaning up my water, getting rid of plastics, getting rid of, you know, I got a shower filter. Just, I wanted to eliminate all toxins. I wanted to detox my body of, like, you know, the heavy metals that everybody has in them, like mercury, lead, you know, stuff we just accumulate from the food we eat, from the supplements we take, from the water that we're drinking. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling chronically fatigued. I'm feeling chronically just unwell in my body. It has to be, you know, my body's just toxic, you know, because if I wasn't toxic, just this waste hadn't accumulated in my system, I would feel better. So I started purchasing programs. I started buying books. I started reading these books intently. I've started listening to every single thing they said. I tried the celery juice cleanse. I did the heavy metal detoxes. I did all this stuff. And here's the caveat. They worked. I noticed a difference, but no matter what I did, I could not get back to that level I was at when I was 16, 17, 18, before my health started to noticeably change for the worse. And, you know, everybody's like, you know what, dude, it's all in your head. You're just becoming a hypochondriac. You're just paranoid. Just, you know, drink a cup of coffee, go to the gym, shake it off. You're just tired. But something in my intuition told me this was not normal. This is not something I should be experiencing as a young, healthy 20-year-old. Like, I'm actually going to be 21 in 2 weeks at the time of recording this video. Like, I'm the youngest that I will ever be. I'm the type of dude who should be like being able to sleep 4 hours and have just, you know, a cup of coffee after a hangover of, you know, like a night of bad drinking and still be able to, you know, smash a workout and hit a PR. Like, that's where I should be at, but I wasn't there. And something in my intuition told me I was missing something. And I knew that it lied in my health and it lied in something in my body being toxic. So like I said, I tried the kidney cleanses, I tried the liver cleanses, cleanses. I did this, I did that. I started, even going to the bathroom with a little squatty potty thing. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera again. I started going to the bathroom with a little squatty potty, just like to even, defecate correctly, because most people, poop in a suboptimal position on the toilet. Like your legs need to be at like a 45-degree angle, TMI. So all that to say, I was like, listen, I'm going to figure this out come hell or high water. Either I'm going to get healthy and reclaim my health, my mental sanity, and my vitality back, or I will die trying. Because that was the only alternative. I was not willing to accept just going to a psychiatrist saying, I'm tired, I'm like brain foggy, and he's like, okay, just take this pill. Like, I knew what true health felt like when you're present and you're spiritually connected to your soul through the medium of the body. And I was losing that. And it was worrying to me because besides my physical health, my spiritual health is also very important to me. And I believe they're intimately linked. And so I started diving deep down these rabbit holes. And even though they did help and they did work to an extent, like I did the celery juice cleanse for a week and I felt better. My sinuses started draining. I tried this, I tried that. I even figured out that the apartment that I was living in at the time was extremely moldy in the basement, and that was coming up through the air vents. And I was like, oh, you know what it is? I'm getting mold sickness. So that was another thing. Like I tried all these things, and finally, me and my brother, my younger brother, we decided to jump ship out of Ohio, where I was living before, Ohio, and we decided to move back to Florida, on the south coast of Florida. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling unwell. As long as if I keep doing the things I'm doing with the detox and I'm getting out of this moldy apartment, I'm gonna sleep better and, get sunlight and all this good stuff, I will reclaim that vitality I used to know. And that was where my head was at. And so we did it. We pulled it off. It was stressful. It took a long time, a lot more hassle and stress than I expected, but it was more than worth it. I was continuing to do the right thing. I was on semen retention. I was doing the celery juice. I was doing the heavy metal detox smoothies. I was cleaning up my diet. I was not mixing foods. I was getting sunlight every day, hours of it, fresh air, clean water, and still I was getting sicker. And I broke down. Like, I've never, ever been suicidal, and I would never myself, but I started to have some funky thoughts. Like, I was going through a lot of emotional pain because I felt so lost. I felt like I had lost everything I knew. Like the universe had just taken everything I cared about. My health, my vitality, my mental clarity, my inspiration, my drive, and my excitement that I had for life, that zeal and passion that I used to know, it was stripped from me, and there was nothing I could do to get it back. I tried everything. It was really rough, man. Like I said, I've never been suicidal, but I was wondering, what is the point of all this? Why would me in the spirit realm, before I've incarnated, decide to go through this? Because I know that everything has a purpose. I would have 10, 12, 13 hours of sleep sometimes, and I would wake up and I'm like, ooh, I'm awake. I got plenty of sleep. I would wake up and within 20 minutes, that fatigue would hit me. Like, I still have kind of some bags under my eyes, but I have these big bags under my eyes. I just felt fatigued, drained in my body, in my spirit. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I went to the doctors. I got the liver panels. I tried this, I tried that. Nothing was helping me. I was ready for it to be over. And by happenstance, by coincidence, and there is no coincidence in this universe. So I say coincidence, but really, if you know what it was. At the perfect timing, when I could take no more, and the universe and God and my higher self knew I'd had enough, it brought me a video on YouTube, actually a mini documentary. It was about 1 hour and 25 minutes long. And I will put the link to this documentary in the description for you if you'd like to check it out. And the name of this documentary was called The Root Cause. Funny enough, about 6 to 9 months before this, when I was first diving into the world of detoxification and holistic health and all this good mumbo jumbo, one of the guys I had bought a course from, and actually he has amazing courses. If you're struggling with health in general and you're not sure what's wrong, go check out his content. His name is Joshua Mason from the Detox Dudes. Amazing work, that's all I'll say. He had sent me the link to this documentary because I asked him, listen, I don't have any mercury fillings in my mouth, which I know are not the best for our health, but I do have a root canal. Is that something I should be worried about? He said, no bueno, watch this. And then he put the link to that documentary. And for some dumbass reason, I ignored it. It was right in front of my face this entire fucking time. And it was at this point, for some reason, I was watching YouTube on this very rainy day, fatigued as ever, but I just woken up and I tried to go for a walk after hydrating and getting my lemon water and everything. And I was so drained, so fatigued, and something inspired me to look up the root cause. I don't know what, but it was something divine in my opinion. And I looked up the root cause documentary. I clicked on it, and it just so happened I had about 2 hours before I had to go into my 9-to-5 job. And I watched this whole thing through, and everything made sense. This guy who made this documentary had the exact same story as me. Many years before this man, about 7 to 10 years, something like that, he'd gotten a root canal. He'd got punched in the face, the tooth got broken, infected a little bit, and the dentist told him to go get a root canal. So he listened to the dentist, got a root canal, all hunky-dory. Should have been the end of it. But this guy, 7, 8, 9 years later, started to get really sick. He couldn't figure out what was wrong. Did the parasite cleanse. He cleaned up his diet. He did this, he did that. He did the spiritual work. He went to the Tony Robbins seminars. He did everything he could think of, and nothing was getting him better. And finally, he just decided, I guess this is how it's going to be. I guess I'm just supposed to be chronically fatigued and sick for the rest of my life. And it just so happened that something came across his field of awareness that introduced him to the concept that this root canal that he'd gotten years before may have been making him sick. So he looked into it. He went to a biological dentist, which is different than a regular dentist. If you do get dental work done, go to a biological dentist. I'll explain more why later. But he went to a biological dentist. They did some cone beam scans, which is like a CT scan, but it goes in a circle. It's circular, so it can get more of a detailed picture for you, so they can kind of better assess what is going on in your mouth. And he got this done, and he realized there was a severe infection in his root canal tooth that he had no idea about. And you're like, Andrew, when I get an infected tooth, it hurts like hell. Yeah, but what is a root canal? What a root canal is you have an infected tooth, they drill into the tooth, they extract the nerves, the veins, they disconnect it from your whole body blood supply, and then they seal it back up. Even if it was the most severe infection you could have in a root canal tooth, you wouldn't feel it because there's no nerves. So it was really infected. And this dead thing, this infected thing was sitting in his mouth and just 24/7 leaching toxins and toxins and toxins. Basically he was getting low-dosed food poisoning 24/7. So now, no matter how many celery juices and lime and lemon waters and spring water and spiritual seminars and ayahuasca trips he did, no matter what happened, he was just getting poisoned 24/7. That was his story, and that was what he relayed. I was like, that has to be it. What else have I not looked at? I've looked at the heavy metals. I've done the liver panels. I've done the celery juice. I've done the detoxes. I've done a 3-day fast. I've done all this stuff and nothing's working. So as soon as I finished that documentary, I looked up dentists near me in my phone, and I found a biological dentist that was only about 25 minutes away. I scheduled an appointment with them next week. They did a cone beam scan. It looked a little funky. So they said, hey, we recommend you pull this root canal tooth. He pulled it, and guess fucking what? It was infected as shit. It was all black near the bottom. And people are like, well, that was just a failed root canal. No, you don't understand. A root canal tooth is a failed procedure. There's no way, no matter how clean you try to get the root, there's 4 to 8 miles long, depending on the size of the tooth. If it's a molar or whether it's a front tooth, there's 4 to 8 miles of microscopic, they're called tubules, which is these little natural cavities in the tooth where all these veins are. So even if you clean out the 2 main roots, the passages where all the pulp is, you still have all that stuff that's just gonna sit there and rot. And it's the perfect, small, wet, damp breeding ground for bacteria and viruses and just infection and sickness and death. That's what's sitting in your face, and that's what was sitting in my face, and that's what was sitting in this guy's face who made this piece of art for me to consume, the documentary, and learn about this. And I found out that my root canal tooth was infected after the dentist took a look at it. He pulled it out, very infected, very black at the bottom. I actually still have the tooth over in my closet because I want to keep this to remember it, this intense period that I went through. And within a week, I was better. Slowly, as the days passed, I came back from the dead. Now, it wasn't instant, it wasn't overnight, but I felt peace in my body again. I felt wellness in my spirit. I felt like I was back from the dead after this past 6 months to a year of struggling, of of being in this really, really dark place. It almost makes me want to cry, dude. Like, it was so dark. It was so dark because it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how dark it gets, if you know it's going to pass within a week, if you know that even if it's going to pass in 2 years from now, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for you. But in my situation, it felt like there was nothing that was presented to me that was saying, hey, at this point, this will pass. I just had to bend over and accept my fate and trust. And that was really hard to do. And that shattered my psyche a little bit. I didn't talk about it with other people that much because I felt like they were just going to tell me I was just lazy, or were going to tell me, oh, it's just in your head, or this or that. Or even worse, they were going to tell me to go to a doctor and just take a bunch of prescription pills. I knew that wasn't the way, but I wasn't sure what was wrong. And it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. It was horrible. And I've been thinking back as this thing has been, out of my mouth and has been healing. And I've started to come back into my body. And I was like, why was it necessary for me to go through that? Why me? Why not my brother? Why not my sister? Why not my parents? Why was it me and my family who got that root canal that started to negatively impact my health? Why did I choose that? Because I truly believe that, to a point, especially the big situations, it's almost like predestined. Like, this is something that you've chosen to go through before you came into the physical realm. And that's my perspective. I was like, why would I choose that? Why was it that at that point, when I found that documentary, that was when I watched it, not 6 months before that? I'm like, it would have helped so much if I knew this like 9 months ago. Why? And I realized this disease, this sickness that I chose to go through, that the universe presented to me, it was the worst, but also the best fucking thing I could have ever experienced in my life. Let me explain why. This sickness, this disease, this experience of going through this taught me so much. It taught me so much in so many ways, not just what I've learned about, holistic health, because, when you're in that place where nothing heals you, you're willing to try everything. I tried the heavy metal detox smoothies. I tried the parasite cleanses. I tried the somatic work. I tried the breath work. I tried the meditation. I tried the sunning your balls, like all this crazy whack job stuff that I never even would have thought of. I was willing to do anything to get my health back. And in that process of learning about, all that stuff, I'm so much wiser, not to thump my chest like, oh, I'm so wise, but just in that process of being forced to learn so many things to get my health back, I know how to handle my body more and how to heal my body. But also, this situation that I've been put through, this diseased root canal tooth that was in my body, causing me pain for so long, it taught me that, this sounds so just cliche, but the universe has your back and will never, ever, ever, emphasis on the word ever, present you with a situation that you cannot handle. The universe has your back and it will never leave you. In the words of Jesus, when he was talking about the attitude that the universe and God has towards you, a son of God, a son of the universe, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'm always with you. My spirit is always with you. You are always held by the universe. You are a child of it. How could it not hold you? But that's a hard fact to accept when you are going through a period of pain. It's so hard to trust the universe. It's so hard to sit back and say, God, like, why am I going through this? What is this purpose? What is this grand plan that you have in store for me? I don't see it. I've got my face up to the tree. I can't see the forest. And that's easy to say when it's all, you're in bliss and you're in a good mood and you just had a great night's sleep and a workout and stuff. It's easy to trust the universe when it's all going good. It's not easy to trust the universe when it seems like the universe and God has forsaken you. But every single seemingly negative situation that you may or may not prefer, there's a purpose in it, and it will lead you back to God. It will lead you back to yourself. It will lead you back to the universe and to the ground of being. And most importantly, it will lead you back to peace, joy, and love. There is such a divine plan that is in store for each and every one of us if we can step back to see the forest, to see the grand picture. And that's hard, especially when you're going through these dark times, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a health or disease challenge that you're going through, whether it is a negative financial situation you're in, relationships, money, maybe a natural disaster that just hit, your local geographical area, anything that could be imagined that is painful, that is hard, and it seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm telling you, dude, to give you some peace, just to give you some peace in your heart. This time will pass, whether it's a month, whether it's a year, maybe even 10 years. Maybe you're meant to go through this season for 10 years. God willing, the universe willing, you won't have to go through this sort of pain for 10 years, but it will end. And you have not been forsaken by the universe. You have everything. You have exactly what you need right now. Stay in a positive state, follow your highest excitement with no insistence on the outcome because you think you need something, you think you need this, you think you need that. But if you are right here, right now, I guarantee, take a look at yourself. Take a deep breath in. You have everything you need in this moment. You have everything you need in this moment. Everything. The universe has not left out one thing that you need right now. Because if you needed it, you would have it. And when you need it, you will have it. Because the universe provides for its children. And this is what I've been shown time and time again. In the macro, in terms of like this 2-year period, but also in the micro, the day to day, the month to month. It's crazy, man. Like, you got some dark times coming for you if you're not in one right now, and I'm just coming out of this one, and I know I have more dark times headed toward my way. Not to speak negative things into existence, but I know for my soul to grow, there's a possibility that the universe may present me with some challenging experiences that may be very painful in the moment. And I know the only way out of it is through it, because once you're in that situation, you can't go back. You cannot go back to the old way of being. You're in it. You're in the mud. The only way is to go through it. It's so crazy how something as simple as an infected tooth was the best thing that ever happened for my spiritual growth. The universe has not forsaken you. The universe did not forsake me. And I still have fear in my heart sometimes. I still experience fear, we'll say, but I'm being shown over and over that the universe and God will always have your back. And there was always a light at the end of the tunnel. And this painful time, this dark time will pass. Brother, I promise you. I promise you. Do what you need to do, whether you feel like doing it or not. And that doesn't mean to be a hyper-disciplined machine that can't learn to feel its emotions. I'm saying follow your intuition, brother. Do what you know is right. Trust God, praise the universe, praise and connect with love and joy and peace, with stillness, with silence, with things that are good and, in a word, righteous, aligned with your highest excitement. Follow those things and it will never lead you astray. Here's a thought experiment. What if you are exactly where you need to be right now? Just a thought. Just a thought. What if you're exactly where you need to be right now? That is an exciting thought, and I will leave you with that. What if you're exactly where you need to be right now? Because I guarantee you, whether you believe me or not, you are. You're exactly where you need to be, because if you were needed anywhere else in any other time, situation, place, you would be there. But guess where you're needed? Right here, right now. You're like, how do you know that? Because that's where you are. There is no coincidences. Everything is part of the divine plan of what you're meant to go through to grow as a soul and come back to the truth of who you are, which is infinite divine energy. That is what you are. Remember who you are. What if you're exactly where you need to be right now? That thought, that realization, I hope, I pray, leads you to peace. If you want some help in getting into a fantastic shape and developing your health, cultivating your health, and transforming your physique from chubby, overweight, low energy into a chiseled, muscular, ripped Greek god, then make sure you click the link in the description and apply for coaching with me. My dude, this was a pleasure. I will speak with you hopefully very, very soon. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.